Hi, I'm Adam,
This is Kevin.
and we are Tech Guys Who Invest. This is the place for business people and investors to learn all about investing. We offer a fresh perspective on what it's like to have a day job while investing, and we share lessons learned on our investing journey. Our vision is to educate and entertain you while adding tons of value to your daily commute. Welcome to our show.
If a genie was to grant me 3 wishes today, the first wish would be that I could eat absolutely anything I want at any quantity and never gain an ounce of weight, or suffer any adverse health effects from eating that. The second wish is that my friends and family have long, full, healthy lives and never have to suffer from major health problems. The third wish is that I had a time machine where I could go back in time, knock some sense into younger Kevin, and tell him to start investing early. Unfortunately, none of those wishes are ever going to come true. And that's okay. I'm good with that. So I'll just continue to move forward. And speaking of which, on this episode, Adam is actually going to teach us how he teaches his kids about financial education, the way he bestows knowledge upon them, the techniques he's using, so that when his daughters are ready to invest, they'll be fully prepared and be light years ahead of where Adam and I are today. If there are techniques you're using today to educate your children or your loved ones, friends and family, what have you, we'd love to hear all about them. Shoot us an email at techguyswhoinvest@gmail.com or let us know in the comments section of this post. So without further ado, here's the episode.
So something I did with my dad when I was young that I thought was cool, well, that my dad did with me and for me, was he took me to work. So my dad, he started this striping company, which is the guys who put the parking space stripes in parking lots.
Yeah.
So my dad did that, right? He had the Louisville Striping Company was his company for a long time, and then later he started seal coating, putting the sealer down in lots. So when I was a little bitty kid, in the summer, sometimes my dad would bring me to work with him, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the entire world. I mean, I've always kind of liked, big equipment and engines and stuff like that. So they had all kinds of really cool equipment, and that striping machine was pretty awesome. And my dad actually let me run it. Of course, he was walking over me and sort of like making sure that I didn't stripe S's into the parking lot. But it was a really cool experience for a little kid. My dad was my hero, and we were around this big equipment, and I was doing big dad stuff. So that was a pretty big, impactful moment for me when I was a kid. How about you, Kevin? Have you had anything like that with your dad?
There are a ton of different memories that I can think of, but maybe what's on my mind right now is because I'm hungry. That might be why. But my dad, when I think of my dad, his ability to cook was just something else. And I grew up loving food, grew up a fat kid. But in Filipino culture, also, food is just really important. Brings people together, all of those things. And on typical breakfasts, weekdays, we would have a cereal, something quick, right? Because everybody's short on time in the mornings. But on Saturdays, when my brother and I would wake up early to watch Saturday morning cartoons, right before breakfast was served, you can smell the aroma of fried garlic, fried onions, and my dad would cook Filipino breakfast. So that could be anything from garlic fried rice to fried eggs. It could be Spam or Filipino corned beef. And whenever I smell that fried garlic or fried onion, I think of my dad and the breakfast that we would have on Saturdays, and that just brings nostalgia and hunger to me right at this moment.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. And that's making me hungry. I love Filipino food.
I don't know if there's a Filipino food restaurant in Tampa. There needs to be one.
I know there were a couple that aren't around anymore, and I'm not aware of any right now that are in operation, which is a shame. We totally need that here.
If you know of one, please let us know.
Yeah, definitely.
So today, I wanted to have a conversation with you, Adam, around the financial literacy that you're bestowing upon your kids. I know you and I have talked about, hey, I'm playing cash flow with my family right now, and that's pretty freaking awesome.
Thanks,
I
man.
wanted to use a different word because it's just that cool, but we'll keep it
Sweet.
clean. Uh, I wish I had that information taught to me growing up. So I want to know what it is that you're teaching them at this point.
Yeah, thanks, dude. First of all, appreciate the compliment. I mean, my family is the most important thing in my life. I'm a big time family guy. Love spending time with my wife and kids, and they just mean the world to me. So, that's the biggest compliment somebody could give me is to recognize when they think I'm doing something good with them. And I really try to teach them a ton, man. And my wife and I, we're totally on the same page about raising our girls to be very independent, able to take care of themselves. That's really important to us. We're both survivors. We have pretty rough childhoods in different ways, and fought through a ton of stuff that most kids don't have to go through. And although our kids don't have to deal with that, we make them prepared to be able to pretty much take care of themselves and to be able to handle themselves no matter what life throws at them. So a big part of this is, as they get older, we teach them more and more, and we're trying to give them more advanced concepts and things that they'll need to know as they get older. And a big part of what I'm working on with them right now is financial education. I didn't have that until I got much older. I mean, much older in life, and I'm trying to help them have it early because one of the things I hear almost every investor I've ever met answer if they're asked what would you do different or what would you do if you could have started, known what you know now earlier, and it's always I would have started investing in real estate earlier. So I'm teaching my kids that now. Like a ton of stuff I'm learning, I teach them, and I'm explaining to them conceptually why you want to understand these concepts, how money works, how wealth is built, why investing is so important, particularly in real estate, in my opinion. So that's a big part of what I'm working on right now with them.
And how are you conveying these messages? Because I know your daughters are, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, around 13 years old. And when I was 13, all I could think about was playing Counter Strike and hanging out with my friends. So, how are you conveying the importance and what are you sharing with them exactly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I was a very different 13-year-old than my kids are, trust me. I won't even go into it, but my buddies who know me from when I was younger are probably rolling right now. Um, but yeah, playing the cash flow game is a great example. Like you mentioned, we do that as a family. I think that is really fun, and I'm taking the time to explain things to them. Other things I'm doing is I'm kind of getting them involved with my business. So I have my girls help me create some social media posts. They help out with things like that, and I'm explaining to them what we're doing there. We're raising awareness, or we're trying to educate people. We're teaching them things, and and then I'll do things like I'll take them when we go driving for dollars, when we go driving around Tampa or St. Pete looking for apartment buildings. I took my oldest with me, and we were driving around, and it was just the coolest thing in the world. We were driving around in South Tampa one Saturday morning, and she's like, "No, Dad, we don't want that one. It looks too nice." She's looking for value add buildings, man. She gets what we're after, right? We want something that we could fix up and force appreciation in and profit from the value add. So if it was too nice, she'd say, "No, we don't want that one. Oh, there's one. It looks like that needs some work. I'm going to write this address down."
Man, that
So
is awesome that you have her thinking in that way that most people don't think about. And she's only 13. Like that's insane.
it is. It's awesome, man. I just love it. Some other things we do a lot is we just use real life examples. So, we'll see if we're out shopping and we'll see people at the mall just buying tons of these name brand stuff, spending tons of money, and and we may get like something that's on sale, because we need it for an upcoming event. That's why we're there. And these people are clearly doing this as a hobby and just spending tons of money. And we will use the opportunity to say, look, those people are consumers. They're not producers. Producers are the people who get wealthy by selling people this stuff. Consumers are people who are broke because they're always spending their money on this stuff. And yeah, they've got lots of really nice stuff, but they're broke, right? Invest your money in assets, things that throw off cash flow for you. And so we'll just take the time to kind of teach them and explain all that stuff to them.
So what's the hardest message you're trying to convey to them? Or what roadblocks are you experiencing?
Um, I can't really say that I'm experiencing big roadblocks right now. I mean, I think it's nothing more than what they're able to process at their age. I mean, sometimes I do kind of get a little carried away and forget that they're they're pretty young, and it's like if I notice they're bored, I'll kind of back off a little and let them go. But they're definitely not roadblocks though. It's like a 13-year-old can only listen to so much of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're really, I mean, yeah, my kids are amazing. They're hungry to learn stuff. I mean, they're interested in new things, and so they're open to it for sure.
I love that. I like that you are taking what you are learning now and kind of bringing them along with you for the journey, like we're bringing along our listeners. And I wish I had that. I can't fault my parents, right? They just didn't know any better. They came from the Philippines, wanted a better life, and the American dream is to work hard, buy a house, put your kids through college, and kind of repeat the process. Now that I'm an adult, I have to unlearn those mindsets of save, save, save until you buy something. If I was to just save my money until I had enough cash to buy something, I would never get out of the rat race. So that's something I have to unlearn. And the idea of using debt to make money is something that I'm trying to think about differently as well.
Yeah, and I've taught them that. Like they know that. They know the difference between consumer debt and leverage to grow your wealth. Uh, like you said, I just didn't have anyone to teach me this stuff. And that's why I'm doing it, because I just think to myself, wow, imagine if someone had taught me this, I would be floating on a boat in the Gulf out there, right?
Which would be
Instead of,
paid for by an asset.
right, exactly. So that's why I'm doing it. So they'll have that opportunity. And my oldest wants to be a doctor, so she's going to need a tax shelter. She understands this.
We better get you this multifamily soon, man.
Telling you, man. So another thing I do with them that I think is pretty cool is I'll share, I'll share books with them. So Stephen Covey has 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There's a teen version,
Right.
Habits for Highly Effective Teens. So we got them that. And I've got plans to strategically get them books as they grow. So my oldest is getting ready to go into high school. So I'm going to get her a book. I'm going to get her Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad book for teens. I forget the name of it right now, but that'll be something I'm getting her as she goes into high school. And, as they get a little older, like when she gets more into her junior, senior year and she's more mature minded, then I'll be sharing Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant. And as they get older, share more advanced books with them that they'll be able to really understand and absorb.
And I know that one thing that is also important is making sure your significant other is on the same page.
Right.
My girlfriend is the one that actually turned me on to real estate investing. And then I kind of ran with that and went into note investing. Where we are trying to figure out is I'm trying to get her to understand notes and educate her in that process. And it's not that she doesn't get it. I know that she wants an apartment complex like you, but I know right now I want notes. So we're not like we're at a debate, but it's just at a different mindset on things. So I'm curious to know where Judy is in this process as well with you.
Yeah, she's kind of letting me blaze the trail, and she is an analyzer for sure. I mean, she's a detail person, and she's very analytical. So she really likes to analyze things and figure out what it means to her, and so that's kind of what she's doing. She's letting me blaze ahead as the idea guy who has all these grand visions of owning lots of multifamily apartment buildings and things. And then she's just kind of taking it at her own pace right now. So she's definitely not blocking me from it. I feel like we're aligned. She's not quite as gung ho as I am, but I don't feel like she's definitely not a drag on it, or, slowing me down or anything like that. She's supportive for sure. So yeah, I think the more she learns also, the more she's coming along. So I have no doubt that there is a time where she'll be right up to speed with me, and kind of, at that point we'll be like a full on husband and wife team going after it together. Whereas right now she's just more kind of playing in the background and supporting and
Same.
learning, you know.
You're in the same position. To be honest, I think my girlfriend has better ideas than I do. And I believe that once I can figure out how to execute the ideas that I have, executing other ideas won't be as hard. I mean, every idea has its own set of challenges and roadblocks. But once you figure out one, I think I'll have the confidence to start running with, oh, you want an apartment complex? Let's figure out how to get that one then. Instead of, oh, we can't do that. Or storage units, let's get that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the investing journey ahead. I mean, it's just I feel like I'm just getting started. I mean, I've been investing for a little while now in property, but I feel like there's a new frontier coming. I'm definitely working right now to take it to the next level, and I'm so excited for what that holds. And boy, I just can't wait to see what my girls do. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to blow me away.
I wish that some level of financial literacy was taught in high school or even in college. One of the electives I had to take when I was at Cal Poly studying my engineering degree was cultural anthropology. And I remember like zero things about cultural anthropology. I would have much rather had the option to take something like financial literacy or base stocks 101 or investing 101, something along those lines that would help me be better prepared when I became an adult and was doing all of these things. Nobody tells you about things like the 401k or those options. I don't think are readily or easily explained to you. I mean, as an adult, it's up to you to start finding that research, but I wish it was just that happened earlier on.
They're doing a little better job of it now. I know at my girls' school they teach some of that, and it's really cool, but they still, I mean, they teach it from like a typical consumer broke person's mindset, to be quite honest with you. Um, but that's better than nothing. That's better than I had or most kids have, right?
Agreed.
But my girls their teachers are like scratching their head with some of the things that my girls will come up with, right? Like they're nailing them on some things that's really interesting, because they already are displaying that wealth mindset. They really know. I mean, how many 13-year-old kids have read a balance sheet or an income statement, right? And they understand what an asset is. So even a lot of their teachers don't get that stuff, man.
Yeah, that's very fair. I think the vast majority of the population aren't really looking at things in that light.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I am very thankful that you were able to share some of those details about your family and you speak about it so passionately. And I know that you're a family guy. I know that's part of your why. And that is awesome. And to bring them along with you is such a gratifying feeling. So I am happy for you and your family. And I cannot wait to see how much smarter those girls are going to be than you when they get to our age.
Yeah, that's my dream. And thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to talk about it, man. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So I really enjoyed this episode.
And when I get a family, I'll do the same thing.
Absolutely. I know you will, man.
All right, Adam. Thanks for this one.
All right. Thanks, man.
One of the common themes that we talk about is networking because networking can lead to leverage, and leverage is what's going to get you out of the rat race faster. And one of the ways that we're networking is in the next couple of weeks, we're going to PodFest 2019, which is one of the largest events dedicated strictly to podcasting and content creators of podcasts. So we're looking forward to meeting anybody who is a podcaster. We'd love to network with you, learn about what you're doing and what's not working or what is working so that we can all grow together.
Yeah, or if you're going to be at that event, definitely find us. You can look for the awesome Tech Guys Who Invest T-shirts that we'll be wearing around the event. Or if you're a local, say you live in Orlando and you just want the opportunity to hang out with us for a little bit, find us. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. That's it for this episode of Tech Guys Who Invest. This is Adam.
And this is Kevin. Thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget to join our Facebook page where we're building a community of investors so that we can share ideas, tips, and other ways to help us get out of the rat race. If you found value in this podcast, it would mean the world to us if you could share it with your network. Lastly, we love feedback. It's how we get better. So if you wouldn't mind spending 30 seconds and leaving us an honest review on iTunes or Stitcher or whatever platform you're using, that would be super sweet. If you want to get on Adam or Kevin's calendar, go to tgwipodcast.com/contact. We want to help you invest safely, wisely, and ultimately get you out of the rat race. Thanks again.